Here we are. Our first live Unemployable Property live webinar. How you feeling, Shannon?
Bit nervous, actually.
And Carson.
Yeah, mate. Looking forward to it. It's should be good.
Yeah, cool. Welcome, guys, to tonight's Ask Us Anything property development session. Like I said before, this is our first free live webinar that we've ever done, any of us on this panel. So don't judge us. You're either going to love it or you're going to laugh at us. One or the other.
We go down in flames.
Yeah, that's it. We've had over 600 registrations, so we really appreciate the attention. We've had over 600 questions asked, and we'll cover the ones that matter most. But one we won't be answering is the ones about Carson's recent browsing history. We've had a few questions. We've had a few questions in regards to his browsing history, but we won't be getting involved.
Realestate.com and domain, mate. It's squeaky clean, I can tell you that. Gloves are off, obviously.
I'm Eric. This is Shannon. This is Carson. For any of you guys that don't know us, we're part of Unemployable Property. Now, it's an interesting story that I want to start to let you guys know how Unemployable Property got started. Now, we've about 18 months ago, Shannon and Carson came on as coaching clients. And let me just put these on. They thought, you know what, I want to get into business. And I was their business coach for a bit. And then I started to realize that these guys were absolute weapons. And probably 6 months later, I was like, you know what, you probably shouldn't start a business because what you guys are doing is amazing already. When I started to really get to know these guys and the type of the land developments that they were doing. And then we come up with a crazy idea and said, you know what, we've got unemployable business. Why don't we start Unemployable Property? And it came out of left field. These guys are just, you know, boots on the ground, doing deals. And they thought about it, right? So it took a couple months. We had multiple discussions. And one thing led to another. And Unemployable Property was born. And here we are about 7 months later, you know, that we've been live. And what amazes me with Shannon and Carson, and for those of you guys that are new and don't know their story, is Carson, probably about 4.5 years ago now, was cleaning carpets with a dream of, you know, maybe one day he could be a land developer. And he did the courses, did a bit of work, and then him and Shannon got together, and Shannon was a machine operator with some civil construction experience, and then they joined forces, and here we are about 4.5 years later, and they've done over $100 million worth of land deals, live land deals right now, over 150 lots of land, and which is extraordinary. And 4.5 years ago, they were working at a job, and not just any job. They were cleaning carpets. Imagine waking up every single day knowing that you're going to be going and cleaning rubbish and puke and all the rest of it from holiday units and carpets.
That could have been his passion.
Your units were the worst.
Right, yeah. He was actually cleaning carpets for a business that we used to own, and it's such a small world when you really think of it. So fast forward to here we are today, and between the three of us, we've made a lot of mistakes in our property development history. Now, I've been doing property development now for probably about good 12, 13 years, more built form stuff, units, townhouses, luxury developments, and we've partnered with Unemployable, and we want to be real, raw, and authentic with you guys. We show up every week on the podcast, bringing value on Instagram, on Facebook, and really, we want you guys to have a really good think about the position that you're in, right? Whether you're sick of a paycheck or you want to create generational wealth for your family, right? Or you just want to wake up fired up and you're sick of what you're doing. That's what Unemployable is about. Really, it's life you don't need a holiday from. That's what we're all chasing, right? I just want to give you guys a quick heads up. Stay with us right to the end because we're dropping prizes all night. We're going to give away 5 unemployable hats, and we're also going to give $10 off to anyone that is registered. So over 600 people that have registered this to this webinar off our hats. And finishing with a big one, on November 29th this year, coming up in the next couple months, we've got an unemployable Gold Coast boat cruise that's leaving from the Gold Coast main beach, a luxury boat where you're going to be hanging out with us, you're going to be hanging out with our wives, you're going to be hanging out with our consultants, our architects, town planners, engineers, financiers, and all of our unemployable coaching clients. And there will be over 100 people on that boat, and we're going to give away one ticket and one ticket with a partner. So basically 2 tickets for yourself and your partner free of charge. These things, in my opinion, are valued at about $50,000 each, honestly. In my opinion. No, I'm joking, guys. You can't put a dollar value on that, because when you're in the room and you're rubbing shoulders with these types of people that are moving and shaking, it's you know, you can't put a price on that. Now, you've got to be there live to win, right? So come over to YouTube and get your questions in the chat. So if you're on Instagram right now and you're on Facebook, make sure you go to YouTube and also put in your questions in the chat, because we're going to be answering live questions later on in the show. The first part of the show, we're going to have people's questions that already got brought in and we already have some answers to. And then for the last part of the show, we're actually going to be answering these live. Now, we just make sure, again, stay till the end, okay? Now, we're also going to be offering something that we've never offered publicly before. It's going to be a one-time opportunity, and you're going to want to jump on this, and we're going to explain what that is at the end. All right, so I wanted to give a quick shout out to some of the people that actually registered, right? So I'm going to name out some names. Helen, Josh, Veronica, Anthony, Aaron, Tim, Claudia, Emma, Natalie, Paul, Jessica, Troy, Luke, Brett, David, Christina, Darren, Kim. Like there was hundreds of yous, right? And if I missed any of you guys, don't take it personally, because the list honestly was longer than the DA approval process in New South Wales right now. Like that is legit, okay?
Especially Tweed.
You guys know all about it. Throughout the night, we'll be spinning the unemployable wheel of fortune that will be coming up when we're doing the giveaways for the hats, and also when we're doing the giveaways for the 2 tickets on the unemployable boat cruise. Yeah, I guess what we should do to get started is let's give away a hat. What do you think? We got Sketch and the boys that are running it.
That was special.
How good was that? I didn't know that was on call. So what we're going to do, guys, right now on your screen, you're going to see a wheel, an unemployable property wheel, and we're going to be giving away our first hat. So Sketch, let's spin it. Well done. All right, so winner is Danny. Danny, and your mobile number ends in 301. So that's Danny, mobile ends in 301, just for privacy purposes. We didn't put everyone's last name. Now, just a reminder, if you've just joined us and you're live, make sure you check the pinned comment in YouTube to sign up now to get in for the draw for the hats and the boat cruise later. If you're on live, we don't know who you are, so make sure you register. And we want your questions answered, guys, so make sure you join us live on YouTube. I'll be repeating this throughout, and make sure that you're dropping comments in the chat, and then and also find a link on the pinned comment on the top of YouTube. Now we're going to get into some of these questions, and we put them into segments, and the first segment is around finance and funding, all right? So we're really starting out strong out of the gates with this topic. Now, this is by far the biggest topic that people had questions. We had over 100 people ask questions. Most of them were kind of around the same version of how to fund their first and their next project. Now,
Definitely one of the most common questions asked is how to finance it. It's a big barrier.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, it definitely is. I mean, this is one thing, it is the number one barrier for people to think, that they think about, right? And have that's That's why most people don't even start, because they have this glass ceiling as, I don't have money, so I can't do it. Yet it's one of the things that disappears the fastest, right, once you understand how a developer thinks about money. Because let me tell you, when Carson and Shannon started, they had no money. Carson was on $1,000 a week cleaning carpets, right? There's a lot. Most of you guys on this call right now would be earning more than $1,000 a week, right? And then you had Shannon, who's a machine operator, and then they're the ones that got together. So, first question from Belinda. And the first question is funding a first development without your own money. And make sure you drop your comments in the chat on YouTube, guys. So I'll start with this one. Now, you could do this multiple ways, and a lot of people will be sitting there thinking, but what do you mean? I have no money. How do you actually fund a deal with no money? Now, underneath the caps that we have at Unemployable and some of the caps that we'll be sending out to you guys, there's 3 words: idea, capital, execution. Now, think about the idea of finding the site as the idea, right? You might not have the funds, but you might have the idea. And let me tell you, finding a good site, there's plenty of money out there that people will want to invest in these sites. And it's not hard to get money. There's more money out there. Carson's getting phone calls on a weekly basis. We're getting messages now. We're getting DMs in our comments. We're getting actually people setting up calls with our appointment setters and saying, hey, I've been listening to the podcast. I now want to invest with you guys because we've built that trust with these people and they can see that we're doing the actual work, right? So another way, there's a couple ways, right? You've got equity and you've got debt. So you can use people like private lenders as well, which and what they would call mezzanine finance. So you've got senior debt and mezzanine finance, and you can go and get debt up to your eyeballs if you really want to, because it's available. And there are a lot of banks out there, private lenders, that will fund these types of projects because they look at it from a project by project basis. They don't look at it, what we're used to is you go to the bank and you got to show your credit card statement and sorry, you don't have serviceability for this $2 million development. You don't even have serviceability for a $600,000 unit, as an example.
Yeah, you're moving away from consumer lending.
Yes.
To serviceability and whatnot, move it into capitalised interest for projects.
Yes.
That's a completely different setup.
And then also you've got option agreements, which these guys are absolute experts at, which they're not tying up basically any of their own money up front. They're just doing it strategically through option agreements. You could do joint ventures as well. So you can say, hey, I'll bring the deal, you bring the money, and you get a split, or you can get a finder's fee at the same time, right? So there's a lot of people out there that all they do is find sites, bring it to someone that has the money, or bring it to a developer, and then they're the ones that actually fund it, and they get a finder's fee that is also negotiated. Did you guys want to add anything to that question?
No, I think you pretty much covered it, mate. That was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And again, guys, don't forget to drop in more comments in YouTube for the live questions being answered later. So Anthony came with another question. What's the best way to finance a deal if you've actually never done one? So I think this is a good one for you, Cars.
Find a good broker. And I think one of the things early days, I had a broker that wasn't that great, and I didn't know that. And so when he said you can't get the money, I just took that as I couldn't get the money. So obviously I wasn't on a great wicket anyways. But even for my joint venture, when I was trying to structure a deal to pitch to the joint venture, I was still going to a broker to work out what I was asking for. So finding a broker that actually understands development finance, because most brokers are doing mum-dad finance for their houses or investment stock. You want someone that specialises in development finance. So that would be my biggest tip, because they're probably only 5% of the market. And a lot of the brokers will say, oh yeah, we do development finance as well, and they might have 2 or 3 private lenders on their books, as opposed to like the guys that we work with. They have like 100 different private lenders on their books. So there's a big difference there, and I didn't realise that early days. So finding a really good broker, and if you don't, and then you mentioned it before, joint ventures. We had to use JV parties early days, because I didn't have the serviceability, and so using someone else's serviceability, if you want to go that way and you don't want to spend the private money, early days, it's a good way to get some runs on the board.
Yeah.
So,
I'll add one thing to that. You got to remember, people are financing deals, but people are financing people, right? And we all have a story. We all need to be better at framing ourselves, right? You might be, a civil engineer. You might be a construction manager. You might own a construction business. I mean, we've got people live right now in our studio that used to own a very large concreting business, that used to do concreting for high-rise buildings, right? That's experience. That's experience in the industry. These people are financing you, right? And you need to make sure that you frame yourself the way you need to be framed, right? You're not going to lie, but use your experience. I was talking to someone recently that is an engineer that is doing a $1.4 billion project right now in Australia. And I'm like, he's dealing with, the premiers and head of transport and all these people. I'm like, you need to document these things. This is going to help you when you're sitting down with people, right? Especially financiers. This is what they want. They will do their due diligence on you. So if you have any level of experience, in my opinion, that's very, very important as well.
just to elaborate on that as well, once you move away from the big four and even the second tier lenders, a lot of these people are family offices. You're meeting with the person that's literally giving you the money. Like one of the first projects me and Shan did, he's like, okay, the project looks great, and then he drove out to site to touch and feel and meet us. So there is that personal level to it. So if they actually like you and your experience, that's, might not even be development, but if they can understand that they've got confidence that you can actually execute, and you've built a good team around you. And if you don't have that experience, you can still employ the people to come in and be that experience piece, like a project manager or development manager, if you don't have that experience.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Your own personal resume comes into play. Definitely. I remember our first private finance deal, we were literally doing up our own resumes for ourselves and what projects we'd been on, what we've done, what we've accomplished. So that all comes into play.
Agree. Next question. So we've got one from Veronica. Which lender for a subdivision? And I think this is a good one for you, Shannon.
I think this is a good Carson one. Completely depends on the project. So it depends on your settlement times. Were you able to get an option agreement? Were you able to get an extended period of time for settlement? So are you buying a vacant piece of land that then you're getting a DA uplift on, which we like to do? That way we can build some equity before we get into the project. We can minimise our own capital, so we don't have to put as much deposit in there, and we can use the uplift of the approval to get on a project or to get into a project. We like to use it that way. And it comes down to quite a few things. Like because we like doing a lot of acreage properties as well. So to try and sell acreage to someone where you can't even see your block, it hasn't been cleared yet, it's still full of timber. It's very hard to walk through a paddock and tell someone that your property or your house is going to be somewhere in there. So go walk it. They just can't vision that yet. So we like to complete a project, build it, and then come out and try and do sales at the back end where people can actually see their home, see the vision of what their property is going to look like. In most instances, private lenders are better for that. You might pay a bit higher interest rate, but you get a bit better sale price coming out the back end as well, because you're selling a finished product that people can see the vision, they can see the dream. And when you're selling off the plan, in my opinion, you're always having a haircut. You're always selling them a bit short. So completely depends on the project.
Yeah, cool.
You don't want to get hung up on interest rates. You know, sometimes it's just the best interest rate that people want to go for. But like you said, it's the terms. If some banks want 100% debt coverage or 50% debt coverage before they'll even give you the money, whereas some of these other lenders, they'll give you the money, but you don't have to. Like you say, they can give it to you up front, and you can start clearing and putting the roads in. And it also gives the buyers confidence that you're actually moving ahead of the project. So don't just look at the interest rate. That's not the that's probably the least.
A couple of percent through the project versus getting a better price at the end. Most of the time, well covers the difference.
Yeah, cool. So. All right, we'll move on to the next question. We had Josh. How much starting capital do I actually need? I'll start by answering this question. Is you actually don't need any capital. And I know that's going to be hard to believe, but I'm sitting beside someone, right, Carson, that's his initial deals that weren't even done with Shannon at that time, he did with zero of his own money. Again, he started with nothing. What he started with was some education, and he took action. And he actually went out and he was in these different Facebook groups after doing some courses and learning, and he reached out to JV partners, right? And he gave a lot away at the beginning, right? Probably more than he would have thought at that time. But at the same time, what he's doing, it's basically paid education because he's learning at the same time. So even if he had to give away, 10, I mean 80%, 90%, and he's got, 10 to 20% in the deal for finding it, it's still better than nothing, and you're educating yourself and you're getting started, right? Now, obviously, it depends on the project as well, right? So if you're gonna go in and you wanna do big dollar deals, it all depends on the types of partners that you're gonna need to bring in, what type of JV partners, what type of private lenders. In my opinion, the most you're ever gonna give away is your first deal. You'll give away less on your second deal, you give away less on your third deal. You will always give the most equity away at the beginning because you don't have as much experience. And the cash, in my opinion, is king, right? Because the person that's coming with the cash, that's their risk, right? Whereas when you're coming and you're finding a deal, don't come and bring a deal to someone and say, hey, I want you to put in all of the cash and I want 50-50. I will never, in my opinion, right, I don't know about you guys, would ever do a deal and I'm putting all the cash and someone just finding the site and giving him 50%, right? So you got to really set those expectations. What are your thoughts, Carson?
Yeah, well, we did exactly that. I think the first, I did a couple with obviously my wife and I got some education, and then we went off with my folks for a couple, and then they tapped out and said, we're retiring. And then I was like, oh, what do I do here? So that's when I started looking for those joint venture parties. And then essentially, the first deal, I think we took a 15% cut, and I had, for me, I looked at that and went, I even set it up where I wasn't on title. I was just like, well, to make it as risk-free from the joint venture party, I said, I'll just be a project manager. I'll take 15%. I shared some with Shannon as well at that time. I think I took 10 and Shannon took 5, and we were like, it was a paid degree. Like most people are going out and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get their degree, and I got paid, I think we got paid 45 grand on that first one. It was 300 grand profit in the project. And if I was terrible, the joint venture person that funded it could just sack me. And I said, and if I am bad, just pay me a $10,000 spotter's fee. So there's no risk to you. They're like, I like that deal because it was a great project. So when you think of it that way, if someone came to me with that deal, I'd be like, okay, if the project makes sense, it's pretty hard to say no to that. I mean, I pitched at a 25% deal, and as a lot of people know, I forgot to put the GST in there and got embarrassed and said, oh, well, do you want to do 15 then? But, 45 grand while I was on the side of making 50 grand a year cleaning carpets, I was stoked for that. So
that was alongside an avid developer. Like, we still work with that JV partner today, and they'd done many projects before us as well. So we were learning from someone who was experienced.
Yeah, good. We'll move on to next question. What do lenders look for in a first timer? Obviously, I know a lot of people listening to this haven't done any type of development. So I think it's very, very important to bring you back, Carson, to that time. Now you're 4.5 years in, you got people throwing money at you got private lenders that'll just give you whatever you want. But let's bring you back to that point when you were that first timer, knowing what you know today, right? What are lenders looking for these first time developers? How should they be approached?
For starters, once again, get a good broker, because they will be your gatekeeper to make sure you don't look stupid. So they'll be like, okay, that feasibility doesn't make sense, and like a broker now will tweak our feasibility for us. Also, once again, you could do a joint venture, so partnering with different people to then fund those early projects for you. Or the other thing is just making sure your books are up to date. Like, as simple as that sounds, like, going in to try and get a loan and you're still trying to do your BAS statements, like it's simple stuff, but we've still got caught, early days things that we thought were clean that weren't clean. So make sure everyone's up to date. Go book in with your broker and go have a health check, so to speak, and find out exactly what you can borrow. If you know, a lot of people go in thinking they can borrow a certain amount and they can't. So if you've got the serviceability, like we talk about private money and no money down, that's great. But some people have the serviceability to do a little project. So for myself and folks, we went and sat down with a broker and we set up a line of credit. So we had a couple $100,000 set aside from the equity that was in their house, and then we had serviceability for, I think it was 500,000. So that were my parameters. Like I knew I had to find something under 500,000, and I knew we had 200 or 150 in this line of credit as the working capital. So I knew my parameters. I can go out and go find my deals now. So knowing what you can afford and what and then like I said, and then obviously the joint ventures is another scenario if you don't have anything. So
cool. One last question in this section, private funding versus bank financing. Now, two totally different things really, right? And I'll go through some pros and cons, right? So you've got traditional banks, right? The pros for a traditional bank obviously is interest rate. And what we're accustomed to, because as a homeowner, first-time property buyer, it's all about the interest rate. You will go somewhere else to save, 0.10% because it's all interest rate based. So they are going to be lower in interest rates. They will definitely be cheaper on application fees. And, I've seen them fund anywhere from, 65 to 75% of project costs. Some of the cons of bank funding, traditional bank funding, is they're very slow for approvals, right? Very slow approval process. Strict criteria, right? They want to see your Uber Eats. They want to know how many kids you have. They want to know where you're spending your money. They want to know if you're shopping at Aldi or if you're shopping at Harris Farms. They want to know every single thing, right? So you're going to give them all that information. And they're a lot less flexible. So if you have project overruns, they don't like it. If you have project, costs that increase, they don't like it. So they're a lot less flexible. Now with private lending, this is a whole area that I've learned so much about over the last 12 months because I've always used traditional finance because I'm like, man, I'm not going to pay those interest rates. I'm all about the interest rate. And private lending, those guys are sharks. They set up structures so they could just take everything away and take it over themselves. So the pros, very fast approvals. I've done one recently. Honestly, I couldn't believe how fast they were at getting the approvals. And they look at it from a project by project base, guys. So they're not looking at it. I didn't show them one credit card statement. I didn't show them one bank statement. I didn't even have to show them any tax information, tax portal, nothing. They look at the project as the project. So they look at it like its own little business. If it stacks on the feasibility and they like you as a person and the people that are involved, that's what these guys are looking for. They can fund higher LVRs, obviously, and first-time developers, to me, it's not a problem because, again, they're looking at the actual project, but the more experience you get, like these guys, Shannon and Carson, they've got private lenders throwing money at them. But the cons, obviously, higher interest rates, right? You're paying through the nose usually. You've got things, what they call line fees, which is an extra fee that they put on top. You've got application fees. Usually they're shorter loan terms as well. And these are the little things that you gotta look at. But in my opinion, if I was someone on the other side of the camera that hasn't done something like this before, ring up a private, right, funder. Take their time, sit down with them, pay them for their time, and ask them stupid questions, right? If you pay them for their time, they will tell you what you need to know. Don't be scared, right? Build up some confidence, build that frame of yours, and get out there and start asking questions to these people. Anything you want to add, Carson or Shannon?
Yeah, look, joint ventures, once again, so the private money side of things used to terrify me. The second subdivision that we bought, the guy borrowed money at 4%. a month and it was getting wrapped up and K-grips were getting put on his properties, and then, you know, it all got pulled off him. So I was like, I'm never doing private money. And, you know, once you wrap your head around it, then yeah, it can be, you know, a great way to get into things, 100%. So yeah,
cool. Guys, please drop a comment in the YouTube box. Let us know if you're liking it. Let us know what you want to talk about. Is there any other questions? Give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Most people think that you need millions of dollars to start. These guys did not have millions of dollars to start, okay? So anybody can do it. You don't need millions of dollars. So get that out of your head if you're in that scarcity mindset. What you need is leverage. You need strategy, and you need to show that you've done the work, right? You're like Carson says, your success, right, is based on the amount of offers that you're putting out. I love that you say that all the time. You can structure deals where the value is in the site, not in your bank account, right? These guys have done a lot of deals where they've not put any money down. They put an option, they do a DA on it. All of a sudden there's uplift, and that is their deposit. These are the little things that you can do once you start learning how to do these things. Once you understand that money isn't the real barrier, it's the mindset, right? The next question is where you'll actually find the deals worth chasing, right? So think about that. Wheel spin number 2. So I love that. Yeah, take it away. This is for another hat.
Just had to clarify.
Marcelo. Phone ends in 048. Another one that joins the unemployable dark side. Gotta love it. You're gonna get so many people come up to you and say, I love your hat. I get so many people coming up to me going, that's me. Where can I get one of those? I understand what you're trying to say.
Except for one of our students got screamed at in the markets like, oh, unemployable, go get a job. He's like, hang on a minute.
Oh, really? Oh, that's hilarious. Guys, if you've just joined, again, check the pinned comment on YouTube to sign up now. So if you just joined and you're live and you haven't registered, make sure you register so you can go into these free giveaways. And at the end, we're going to be doing a giveaway for 2 tickets to come on our Unemployable Boat Cruise on November 29th. So make sure you're registered. And if you want your question answered, join us live on YouTube, drop a comment in the chat, drop a question in the chat, and you can find the link as well pinned in the top of the comments in YouTube. We're going to go into the next segment, segment 2, how to find a deal, right? Now, this is our second biggest topic. We had about 70 questions on how and where to find deals. Short answer, couple red wines after midnight, you'll find a lot of things, and sometimes you will find the best deals, because I know Carson is up late at night because I get emails and messages sometimes, and I'll tell you something, he will not be watching Netflix. This guy will be scouring the internet to find the next deal, and he's got that many offers out there. I don't know how he tracks it, but that is the work that's being done when nobody is actually watching, right? So who's ever thought that they found the perfect site? We've all got it, right? We all had that perfect site. Then you realize it's in a flood zone. I mean, it's heritage listed. It's next to a power line. We have all been there. So this is one very, very important area, how to actually find a deal. How many times do you get asked this question?
How many times?
All the time.
All the time. Yeah. 100%.
Right? And it's something I get asked all the time. And we've got a few questions to get through here. So we're going to start with Helen. Helen asked the question, where do you find off-market development sites? Carson.
Off-market, a couple of ways we've done it. Letters, I've sent letters out, which is painful. I kind of only do that when I get really frustrated with the stuff that's on market. So we've, but to be fair, I sent out 900 letters to get that one deal, but it was a fantastic deal. It was worth the time. Most people don't want to do that, but that's one option. But for the rest of us mere mortals, probably good agents. Probably the best tip is finding the agents that sell the most development sites. Like in your area, there'll be 1 or 2 agents that sell the majority of the development stock. They've wrapped their head around it, they understand it, and they go and approach the mum, dads and say, hey, do you realise you're sitting on a development site? So they're the ones that you want to really get chummy with, buy the coffees. Don't do that on the home opens. You know, that's game day for an agent. You want to be doing that from Tuesday to Thursday when they've got time during the week. Try and meet them face to face, because those guys already have the developers on speed dial. How do you be one of those people? You've got to, once you said it yourself, frame yourself right. Hey, I'm market ready. You know, or I'm working with a joint venture party. We're ready to go. We've got the funds. If, you know, go look at some stuff that they've sold that you would have bought, you know, 4 James Street, you know, that you sold for 1.5. If you find another one of those, bring it to me off market. I might, I'll give you first look at selling the blocks out the back end. I dangle the carrot. Agents are commission driven, so you want to try and be front of mind, because they've already got people that they'll ring. So how do you be one of those? You don't want to be a pest, but if you're persistent and, you know, it goes a long way.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tim has another question. What makes a good site versus a bad one? Shannon.
Ooh. One you can manufacture growth in, one that you can actually develop. Because there's not a... Good sites are hard to come by, like good easy sites are hard to come by. And nearly all of our deals have problems. They're either steep, ecology problems, waterways, fisheries, traffic. So it's working out what projects have a risk, what the problems are, and trying to work through those problems and make sure it stacks up to be a deal. So it's not a definitive answer, I know, but it's if you can sort out the risks in a project.
Yep.
One
Now,
that makes money is good.
yeah, that's exactly right. That's the one that everyone's trying to find, right? What's quite interesting right now, we've got over 350 people live in this call, and I just want to shout out to all of you guys. Thank you so much for your attention. We know it's late in Sydney, New South Wales and Victoria. When we first set this up, we didn't realize daylight savings was on the Sunday, and then here we are today. So thanks for you guys for hanging out with us and your attention. We really, really appreciate it. Aaron's got a question. How do you build rapport with agents to get early access? Carson.
I think I mentioned it before.
You did mention, yeah.
You know, like that'd be the same thing. Once again, being front of mind. You know, and sometimes it's just that follow-up call. You might have that initial meeting with that agent, but every couple of months, hey, John, you got anything coming up? I'm here, I'm ready to go. Just, oh, that's all right. I remember that guy that I went and had a coffee with. So, you know, being front of mind. It's, you know, like I think this week alone, I've probably had 4 to 5 projects brought to me off market, but I wasn't getting that early days. It's just time of, you know, dangling the carrot to agents. Hey, you know, if you find anything, bring it to me off market. And sometimes it's just, and then when you make offers, even if they don't work out, sometimes it builds that relationship that, oh, okay, this guy's actually serious. And then, you know, 6 months later, they bring you another one. So it's just being in the market and being active.
Yeah, can I add to that?
Yeah. Yes.
So probably 2 things, and elaborate on it, Cast. But one is being pretty quick with them as well. Don't like make an offer and stuff around, I'll get back to you next week. Like be pretty concise with them and make sure you're responsive to them and respectful with their time. So they take a lot of calls and they get mucked around a lot as well. So make sure you are communicating clearly and in an efficient time, and knowledge around what you're doing. So sit with a town planner, if you're working in a specific area or a suburb and it's low density, you're working on rural, you're working on, get a good idea of what it is that you're trying to work on so you understand the bounds, because then you can talk very clearly with an agent when they say you can do, oh, you know, this is a 3-lot subdivision, da-da-da. You can go, well, it's not because of a waterway, setbacks, bits and pieces, I'm only going to get 2. And then you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Start to sit with town planners and start to get a good idea of what it is you're trying to do, and agents will take you more seriously because you are more serious about it.
Yeah.
And just being true to your word, as bad as that sounds, like so many people, agents are used to being stood up on home opens, and you say you're going to make an offer, or if you're not, ring them up, say, hey, actually it's going to be there tomorrow. Like people treat agents pretty poorly. So if you actually are that person that's, you know, doing what you say you're going to do, then that goes a long way. As sad as that is, it does go a long way. So.
There's lots of people out there that waste agents' time. That just, they're not serious, and agents will see right through that, right? Because time is very, very valuable for everyone, especially an agent as well. All right, so we have another question from Rachel. How do you know a deal is actually profitable before making an offer? Carson.
Yeah. I spun my wheels a lot here trying to work out how a deal's profitable. And for me, I did a course where I got this super complicated feasibility, which I just did not understand. So it was just too hard basket. So I was just doing my back of the envelope feasibility. So finding a decent feasibility where you can navigate the numbers at the end of the day, like that, the feasibility dictates what you do. Sometimes I'm like, oh, Shan, I think I found a good one. And then, you put the numbers back of the envelope, it looks great. And then you actually put it through the feasibility and it's like, oh, it's actually not as good as you think. Yeah. But, like I say to a lot of our coaching clients is, hang on a minute, every deal works. Make an offer. I think 50% of the sites that me and Shannon are running at the moment, we've made an offer. They said no, in some instances laughed at us. And then 6 months, sometimes 12 months, or even like 1 month later, the one that we settle on Monday, the agent said, oh, sorry, they've accepted another offer 300 grand higher than you. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, and then like a week later, I was like, you know what? I'll just ring him up. So, hey, just let you know, if something goes south there, we'll pay a little bit more. We'll pay 1.1. He's like, actually, the guy's been fluffing around, and the vendor said stuff that he'll sign with you. It was just a little thing that we followed up on, and there we go. So, but yeah, feasibilities at the end of the day, that's, and you got to know what to put in a feasibility at the end of the day. So once again, it's back to Shannon's point, sitting down with a planner and understand the basics. Okay, if we've got a 10 hectare site and we need to lose 20% for roads, and the minimum lot size is 1,000 square meters, we know that, okay, you take the 20% off, we've got 8 blocks left over. And then, so understanding those simple little things early days, just to do a feasibility quickly, and then you run off to your engineer to work out if that's right, plug those into your feasibility, make an offer. We had an off-market deal came to us the other day, quickly did the feasibility and made the offer that same day. So one of the things that we've got against the big guys is speed. We don't need to have 20 different board meetings to make a decision. So if the one thing us little guys can win on is speed. So
then,
well said.
Add a caveat to that is we sort all that out through DD. We're always asking for DD.
Due diligence, DD.
Yeah. Due diligence, so then we can get through all of that stuff in finer detail. And if there is discrepancies, there is problems, we couldn't get as many blocks as what we thought we could, that's when it all starts to come out and we can work with it.
That's when you start negotiating hard and offer half the price.
Yeah, and sometimes they fall off. You don't get
yeah.
them. Sometimes you don't get them, but if you don't make the offer, you never get the chance in the first place. And you can't do a full DD on every site you look at. You'll never develop anything.
No, agree.
Well, one we're hopefully on selling at the moment. It's we paid 2 for it, but we initially paid 3.5 something, and then the DD was terrible. We dropped it. 2 other developers picked it up, dropped it because it was just a messy DA, and then we just offered them a cash offer at 2 million, like so 1.4, nearly half the price, 40% less, and they said yes because they were just over it. And so once again, but if you're not front of mind, if you're not following things up, you miss out. So.
One last question in this section from Laura, and is there a best time of year to find sites? Carson, Shannon?
Best time of year to find sites?
Best time of year. Is there a best time of year? Obviously, is it better to look near Christmas because everyone's on holidays, but people are still wanting to sell, or they might be desperate?
Yeah.
Best time is any day that ends in Y, early hours of the morning, and definitely Christmas and January because everyone's taken a holiday. But don't ever settle a project at Christmas time or January because everyone's taken a holiday. It's too hard to settle.
But you're right. Like that Christmas, I know some people that like ramp things up during that Christmas period because everyone else goes to sleep, and you've got those vendors that were hoping for that offer to settle before Christmas, and now they're a bit angsty. You make offers, and no one else is walking through the home or making offers. Everyone else sitting on the beach, happy days. So
it's like that old saying, right? The squeaky wheel gets the oil. And at the end of the day, they're still open. There's still people selling. Things don't stop. In this country, it's funny. Like for 1 month, from mid-December to mid-January, if not late January, just everything stops.
Ah,
Yeah.
council,
And all I think about is opportunity. That's all I think about.
literally everything. Finance, council, legal, everything stops.
Yeah.
The other funny thing is you'd think after a boom is the worst time to buy. When COVID hit, we got caught chasing the market and didn't buy anything. We missed on all that uplift. And then at the peak, we were buying properties, but we were buying them well because everyone was like, okay, we're at the peak now and stop. Probably 3 of our best purchases were at the peak of the market. So it's still just structuring the deal right, and we got longer settlements and bits and pieces. But just because things have boomed and everyone else is sitting on their hands, it doesn't mean there's still not a deal to be had. Yes, you got to be careful and you got to factor in, things coming off the ball a bit. But just because things have gone up, you'd think that's the worst time. Like we've got some fantastic deals at the top of the market. So
Lots of wisdom on this panel.
still cutting our teeth, but it's good.
Guys, deals don't fall in your lap, right? They're literally hunted. Like Carson and Shannon are on the hunt every single day. These guys are like dogs on a bone. And in my opinion, this is where a lot of the work is created, right? Like he's literally sending out letters. He's got his son has found a couple sites. So when people say, I can't find sites, his son has found them on Domain, on realestate.com.
12 years old.
12 years old, by the way, yeah. I mean, hopefully he's not 25. You don't look that old. No. It's about building relationships, right, with agents. It's understanding zoning, and it's learning to see the potential of what others overlook, right? You win when you can walk onto a site and you can already picture what it's going to look like at the end. It's like those people, those renovators. They can walk into a home and say, wow, I know exactly what this can look like. It's got, good bones. And other people go, oh my God, the wall's painted blue. Oh, the tiles are cracking. Oh, and then they walk away and then someone else makes money from it, right? And once you've found that site, right, the next hurdle now is getting it through council, right, and building it on time and building it within budget. So the next question is going to be about the development process. But before we get into those questions, you know what time it is, right? We're going to spin the wheel again, give another unemployable hat away, and let's see who else is going to become unemployable with us tonight. Woo! Nathan, phone number ends in 700. Congratulations, Nathan.
Are you going to hand deliver that one?
Hand
Hopefully they don't live in
deliver it
cans.
with a bow, right? Just for anyone winning these hats, we'll get them sent out within the next 48 hours, guys. I wear mine all the time. It's kind of an identity piece for me now. I walk around sometimes and with my kids, and somebody will come up to me and they'll be like, "Oh, I love the pod. That's amazing." And one time we went away and we were at a hotel and we were there for 2 nights, and there's 5 different people that came up to me in the lift and different things. And my youngest one is like, "Dad, are you actually famous? Like, are you a YouTuber?" Which I found pretty interesting. But yeah, it's an identity piece. It's a brand. It's a brand that we're building, guys, and it's an identity for you as well. Just that it's a strong, powerful word, unemployable. Guys, again, if you've joined live and you haven't registered, make sure you go to YouTube, top pinned comment on YouTube, click on that link and register, so that way you can be in the draw for your free hat and the draw for the 2 tickets on our boat cruise that are worth over $50,000 in value, in my opinion. Like I said before, make sure you're registered, or else you're just watching live and you're not going to get anything. And if also you want your question answered, make sure you go to YouTube, put it in the chat. We're getting a lot of questions being sent through right now. The next segment is the development process, as I discussed. And then after that, we're actually going to be going into the Ask Me Anything live questions, and we're going to be firing through those as well. The development process. This is a big one.
Which council?
Oh man, this is also known as the emotional damage phase of the development. And this is basically where you make it or break it, right? Whether you hit your timelines or you don't hit your timelines. Very, very important. This is, the numbers that you put in the feasibility that, you cross your fingers and you're hoping that you're actually going to connect with those numbers. This is where it's at. Now, we've got a few questions. We're going to start off with Veronica. So Veronica, thank you for your question. How long does council approvals take? Carson.
Depends. It's we've had one fairly recently that took 2.5 years, and we knew it was going to take that long, so we got a joint venture party on board with that one that could actually service the debt and hold it, because private money wasn't going to cut it for that time frame. So we said, hey, we're buying this really well because this council's so painful. So there lies the opportunity as well. A lot of people just go, oh, don't go down there. But if you can get really good long terms, or you can find a joint venture that's willing to go on the journey, we've got the approval and the site doubled in value. So just because we still haven't developed it yet doesn't mean the uplift hasn't been great. So, and then on the flip side, we had a little 4-lotter that we got through the fast track systems. A lot of councils have fast track systems. It's a tick box exercise. So if it's pretty cookie cutter vanilla style, subdivision, then I think that one got approved in 6 weeks. So you've got to know, and that's why buying an hour of your town planner, understanding your area, how long a DA takes. Are you pushing the boundaries and it's going to take 8-12 months? Is it pretty you're ticking the boxes as code accessible type DAs? Then it can be kind of 3 or 4, 5 months. So once again, going to your town planners, understanding, because every single council's different. That's why it doesn't matter if we're coaching people in WA or New Zealand. We don't need to know all of the little nuances, because there's thousands of councils, but the process is the same. Meeting with your town planner, understanding those little nuances, and and then making your offers and accordingly, and putting it into your feasibility, because the interest will kill you pretty quick if you thought you were going to get approved in 3 months. Especially if you're playing around with private money, you'll get burnt really quick, because you've got to be in and out pretty quick. So
100%. Time is the biggest killer of developers.
Yeah.
Trying to hold stuff you can't afford.
Agree. You just got to keep pushing. Like, I'm on the phone I'm just pushing all the time. Like,
you look stressed.
No, I'm good. It's just like you gotta push, right? That's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, squeaky wheel gets the oil. Like, there's he or she. You need to be front of mind with that town planner or that financier. You need to be onto them, because if you give them too much leeway, you're allowing them to give that time, and like you said, time is money.
No one will ever care about your deal as much as you. Your planner is as good as they may be. He's got 70 other projects that they're running, so you have to be that squeaky wheel.
Agree.
For sure.
All right, we have another question, Aaron. DA versus CDC, what is the difference? And guys, like, these are some amazing questions. So these are well thought out questions, guys. I just want to give you guys a round of applause. And again, give us a thumbs up, give us a like in the comments. What do you like? What aren't you liking? We want to hear it all. Shannon.
DA versus CDC.
Yeah.
We haven't actually done anything CDC, so complying development certificate. New South Wales, it's more or less, there's New South Wales, you basically got to do a development application for everything. So if you're putting in a retaining wall, a carport, a house build, it all goes through council for approval, not like Queensland. CDC is their way of fast tracking it down there. So they basically grabbed some rules in the planning scheme and the local council and said, if you can fit between these bounds and they're acceptable outcomes, we can fast track your approval through complying development certificate, which Carson was talking about, a fast track system. But as soon as you're outside of, if anything's not an acceptable outcome and it becomes an impact, like it might be too steep as a driveway, your setbacks might not be right, it flicks straight back over to a development application. So it works for very simple stuff. Anything that's got any challenges, you're back to DA anyway.
Good. We've got another good question, very important question from Jessica. How do I pick the right builder or project manager? And I think this is going to be a good question for you to answer, Shannon, because you're on site a lot, dealing with these guys.
Experience. I like to see what people have done, what they've worked on. And even contact with some of their previous clients is a pretty quick indicator of what they can do. Like, I'll even go to the level sometimes, because we do a lot of roads. So asphalt, I've gone out and seen the asphalt contractors working on other projects to make sure that their quality's there. Concreters, I've done the same thing. So again, runs on the board, what their resume is, what they've done, and their previous clients and the work they're doing, if you can see it.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things is you just don't want to hear their own testimonial.
No.
You want to actually hear it from people that have used them, because everyone's going to say, I'm the best, I've done this, I've done that house, I've done this. But as soon as you start asking questions going, that's fine, but I'm very serious and I want to sign a contract, right? And I've got it down to 2 or 3 builders, right? But one of my non-negotiables is I need to talk to 3 of your clients, not from 5 years ago, right? Within the last 12 to 18 to 24 months. And if any of them are hesitant, walk away, right? Let them be the gatekeeper for you. Yeah, very, very important. We've got another one here from James. What are the key stages in the development timeline?
In the development timeline.
Yep.
What are the key stages in a development timeline? So obviously finding the site, purchasing it, trying to get some terms is probably a key point we always like to try and do, get some time. Then obviously your approval process, so DA, op work, CC if you're in New South Wales. Your settlement period if you've got terms, and you've got time in the project. Then construction, and planned sealing, and then over to sales. If you haven't pre-sold on the way through, we do sales at the end. Some projects we do sales on the way through as well, but they're pretty much the stages of it.
Yeah, cool. Hopefully that answered your question, James. Now, again, these questions, guys, we have to run through them, right? Or else we'll be here all night. So we'd love to dig more into these, but we're just going over them and hoping that you're getting enough information that you can take that and do what you need with. We've got another question here from Bianca. What's the biggest mistake people make with their first DA? I guess probably with their first DA development. What are some of the main mistakes? I guess, what are the mistakes you made, Carson, in your first DA? Because there were plenty of them. I mean, when you mentioned GST, he gets PTSD because he actually forgot the GST in his initial feasibility. Believe it or not, we've said it multiple times. I'm allowed to say this, right?
Yeah, 100%. I'm a bit special, so I make lots of mistakes.
It's live, we're not taking it back.
So tell me, what are some of the mistakes people are making?
Look, not allowing enough time. We've spoken about it before with the finance costs will slaughter you if you don't give yourself enough time to get the DA. So really push for those longer settlements if you need them. And cost blowouts is another big one. People just don't put I had a random ring me the other day and said, hey, I've got the approval now, but I've just got some quotes and it's double what I thought it was going to be to build it. It's not going to make any money. What do I do? So, actually doing the proper due diligence, I've had people that have bought a dud and then they're just trying to make it work, and it's very hard to, because you've missed bushfire, for example, is one where it works from a planning perspective or ecology. I've had a town planner that wasn't that great, and he said, 100% you will get 5 lots out of this site. I was making an offer and I was like, maybe I'll just check with an ecologist just to make sure we can. And he's like, you will 100% not get more than 2 lots on this site. And I went back to the plan. I was like, this is what the ecologist, he's like, oh yeah, he's right. And I was like, man, I was just about to buy this site. I would have completely cooked the books. So, building that A team, getting a really good team around you, because when you cut your teeth, you don't know what you don't know. And, a town planner is your go-to person for that.
Yeah, there's so many different elements. Ecologist, bushfire, water, building design. There's so many different disciplines you've got to go to de-risk a project. So building your A team, I'd say, is key.
Yep, I concur. I guess, plan early, bring in your builder up, and your planner up front, because if you don't, you're going to be bringing your therapist later. I'll tell you that right now. Very, very important to get this right, guys, because there's big risk and big reward with land subdivisions and property development. And this is why it's great answering these questions. and getting everybody more comfortable with these talk, CDC and DA and DD, and these are the questions that you need answered, so that way you could become like, Carson and Shannon, and hopefully in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you've left your job that you don't enjoy, because I'm sure that Carson didn't enjoy carpet cleaning too much. And now, he's cruising around, looking at sites, doing deals, hanging out with his kids. His kids come here, they watch the pod. Same thing with Shannon. Like, these guys are living and breathing and loving every single minute of what they do. And I'm blessed that I've got to partner with these guys. And
That's a lie. I don't like accounting.
Oh, the accounting part. Yeah, you just like it when the money lands into your account.
Yes.
All right, guys, it's that time again. We've got another hat draw. Let's go. All right, we've got Dominic, Domenic. Dominic, mobile number ends in 566. All right, guys. So, again, if you've just joined, go to YouTube, register. We've got one more hat giveaway, and then we've got the 2 tickets to give away for the Unemployable Property boat event that is on November 29th, leaving Main Beach here, Marina Mirage. There'll be about over 100 people on the boat. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to be doing that right at the end. And again, put in your questions, because now we're going to be going on to the Ask Anything Live, right? We're going to fire through these questions. So we prepared some of these questions to answer. These ones are just going to be off the cuff. Shannon and Carson don't even know what's coming, because I got the laptop in front of me. Actually, no, they're cheating. They got their phone there. So let's get into some of these questions, guys. Now, I've got a couple here. So let me start with a few here. So we've got one from Julian. And the question is, do you need to live in Queensland to lock up a deal, as I live in New South Wales, struggling to find a site here? And this is an amazing question. And Danny, who works with us off camera, was saying that a lot of the people that he talks to ask the same thing, right? Are going, well, do I have to live in Queensland to find or do a deal in Queensland? Or do I got to live in Perth to find a deal in Perth? So, Carson, what do you think about that?
There's deals everywhere. Like, I've been in this game 10 years, and I've rubbed shoulders with not big developers, a lot of mum-dad developers, and I know people that are killing it in every state. Like, we've got 2 deals in New South Wales at the moment. We're not actively, we've made offers and stuff in WA, been looking in Vic, but, I'm not, because of space, like, I like to try and do stuff within a couple of hours if I can. Like, if it's a good enough project, I'll do it remotely, but there's deals everywhere at the end of the day. And once again, it's sometimes you just need to look outside of your, radius that you're in. You might need to just, like subdivisions, for example. I think a lot of people will say, I'll pick 2 or 3 suburbs and become an area expert. You got to cast a wider net than that. If you and you got to know the right little areas. And once again, meeting with the planners and going, where's the subdivisions happening? I know people in Sydney, I've got a couple of mates that are killing it in Austral at the moment, just good and cleaning up.
Human nature is you always pick the suburb you live in and the ones next door.
That's right.
So you need to spread a bit wider than that to find them.
And even the built form, like I know some guys in Sydney that are just doing duplexes, and they've got their cookie cutter little niche, and they pick the right suburbs. It's not going to work in every suburb, so it's whatever strategy you've got, they work better in certain suburbs and price points. So you try and do nice duplexes in some of the lower suburbs, it's not going to work. So you just got to, obviously pick the right strategy for the right area.
Yeah, I think we're so used to living in a 5-kilometer radius, and we're so used to, buying the investment property that you need to drive by and that you can touch and you can feel, and just in case you got to go there to replace the fan, and this kind of scarce mindset that a lot of us been raised with. But it doesn't mean that you have to invest, in a 5-kilometer radius. Australia is a very big place, and there's macro markets and there's micro markets. There's different markets moving in different ways as we speak right now in the country. Some are coming down, some are going up. So in my opinion is I wouldn't be looking at every single area. I would just do some due diligence, see which areas you're comfortable with that you think, based on demographics and stats and the rest of it that you're looking at. And if that means it's outside of the place that you're living, I wouldn't be too scared. But don't forget, you're going to have to put some time aside. You're going to have to book flights, accommodation. Like Michael, who's part of the Facebook group, he lives in, I think, Sydney, and he's doing deals in Brisbane, and he's posting it, and I'm just like, man, I should be finding these deals. He's posting deals that he's just driving by from an appointment, sitting down and going, oh, that's for sale, and putting an offer in. I'm just like, man, this guy's everywhere. But he hops on a flight, he's there that morning, does a deal, puts an offer, hops on the flight back in the afternoon, back home doing the deal, and it's amazing, very, very amazing to see.
It's a very, very found knowledge of Brisbane though. So he's
Yes.
picked that area from living in Sydney, and he's built his A team up here.
Yeah.
So it's 500 different councils around Australia plus. So you need to build your A team in those areas.
On that as well, we've got coaching clients that have, one of them just picked up a 4-lot subdivision in New South Wales, and it was, I think the purchase price was in the $700,000 price point. For a lot of people, that's achievable, and there's like, it's got margin in it. He's working through some of the ecology stuff, and it's in some DD, but if that all goes ahead, happy days. And we've got other clients in Melbourne. They've picked up a couple of really good sites, and one of them was, I think, sub 400,000 for 5 lots, in a regional area. Yes, you might just learn the process, cut your teeth, make a little bit of money. You don't have to make the millions of dollars on the first deals. If you just understand the process and make a bit of money, that's a win,
Yeah.
So, yeah, you don't have to do the big multi-million-dollar projects. So it's good to cut your teeth small.
Well, yeah, I agree, and we have to remember, right? Like, humans are greedy, right? Like, we'll have people on here that are like, I want to make my next $1 million, but at the end of the day, they're still waking up every day for 100, 150, 200 grand a year and working for someone else, putting in 40, 50 hours a week, driving trains, planes, you name it, right? Just imagine how Carson would have felt at that time when he's like, I've just made 45 grand, right? I have to work 50 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, right, to make this kind of money, right? And that's one thing I love about Carson and Shannon, are they the most humble guys. And I know that probably cringe every time that I say they're doing over $100 million worth of land deals. And I know that feels out of reach for a lot of you, but let me tell you, right, that can be you as well. These guys are doing this now every day, and they are learning every day. They are making mistakes every day, but the key is that it took action. They were sick of what they were doing. They took action, a bit of risk, and now it's endless. Like, I thought I was doing all right, and then I'm sitting with these guys, and they're talking about, like, they just told me one of the deals they're doing right now that they're getting paid, right, on a deal that they don't even have the full DA yet, and what they paid for it and what they're making. Let me tell you, they would not have to work a day in their life ever again, right? Yet this guy here still rolls around, right, in his, in his Ford Ranger, that his transmission blew up, and he was that much of a tight ass, okay? That much of a tight ass. And I know what they're doing. I know what they're banking, that he went to Rent-A-Bomb and rented 1992, I think it was. What was it, 98 maybe? 2000?
It was a nice Nissan Pulsar.
A Nissan Pulsar. I don't even think it had power windows, right? And that's what I love about these guys. They're not about the private planes. They're not about the Lamborghinis. They're just real, relatable, absolute gentlemen, family men. And yeah, it's amazing. It humbles me to be here at this table with you guys, man. And you guys are just legends, honestly.
Well, one thing about when we clean the carpets, for me, I wasn't cleaning carpets because I had the vision of where I wanted to get to. So for me, I was working towards that. So I didn't get bummed about my job because I was like, hang on a minute, I can see the path and I'm working towards that. So I could get out of bed quite excited to go to work because I knew I had the hope that, okay, I'm going to make this work. So for those years that it took my poor wife, I was telling it was going to happen a lot quicker than it did, but I'm a slow learner. But, you've got to have that kind of vision and surround yourself with people that have got the runs on the board, and you've got to borrow their belief for a while until you kind of get the runs on the board for yourself. So,
Guys, in the comments right now, give us a thumbs up. Are you liking this? Are you not? I'm looking at the videographer right now. Sketch, are we getting the comments through? Are we getting thumbs up? Do we keep going? Because I've got questions. There's plenty of questions. Are we going? Do they want more? All right.
I really like the Bitcoin question. I reckon it's a good one for you.
I haven't seen that one yet, but let's do this one first. because one of the boys said this is a good one. What is the average turnaround time from start to completion? This is a very, very good question. Shannon, Carson, both of you guys chime in, but I think this is, great question. Thank you, Mickey.
A lot of we did a 6-lotter that took 12 months. We did a 4-lotter that took 5 months, but that was after a 6-month settlement. So it probably was a 12-month project, but we're only in the project for 5 months. But then we've got other deals now, like the one we're in now, the construction. We only own it for 12 months, but we had it under option for 22 months. So we had some fees with consultant fees along the way. We got that uplift, settled the loan, but we only actually physically owned the property for 12 months, even though we've been working on it for nearly 3 years. So every project's different, and that's why you got to know your time frames of your planners and bits and pieces. But typically we like to be in and out of a project in 12 months, if not 18 months at the most, because we're using private money. We haven't personally used serviceability on any of our projects. It's all private money, capitalised interest, and they want their money back within 12 to 18 months for the most part. So we look for deals and structure our deals around that. And if we can't do it, we don't do it unless we go do a JV that can service the debt. The time frames vary. Anything you want to add, Shane? Or?
No, I'd just say the average is probably about 18 months across the projects that we've done.
Yep.
Some are longer, some are slightly shorter and a bit easier, but it all depends on the size and scale of them.
Yeah, like I said, we've got one that's DA for 2.5 years, and it will be another year to get the construction certificate, and then it all depends.
We knew that up front going into it, so we could structure it that way.
But you guys are transacting, right? There isn't really a land bank strategy here, guys. What they're doing is they're buying in the same market, developing in the same market, selling in the same market, right? So they're not sitting here and land banking going, in 5 years time I'm going to do this and I made all this money, because you got to divide that ROI, that return on investment, over the amount of time that you've held the project, right? So these guys are coming in and out, and the returns are astronomical that these guys are getting. Like, they sent me something the other day and I was like, yeah, have a look at this return on this project. Tell me if this is better than Bitcoin. And I was like, actually, it is. So it's quite funny. Great question, Rachel. How do option agreements work? Because this is a very confusing topic for a lot of people. I think, who wants to take that one on?
Can you manage a project in a different state? Is that the one?
No,
Options.
How do options
options
agreements work?
Yeah. So
Did you have a little bit of a?
No, I can see it. I had a moment.
he wants a different question.
He wants a different question. The one with the state, we already kind of answered that one previously. So how do option agreements work? Who's in the firing line? Carson, all over it.
So you got your call options and your put and call. Your call option is essentially you don't have to settle. So we did one on the Gold Coast where I tied up the site. I thought I was going to develop, I think we had 15-month call option, and if I couldn't have navigated the approval process, I could pull out, walk away, and I didn't have to settle on it. So I have the option to settle on that, but I don't have I don't have to actually settle on it. The put and call, the put part of it is the person on the other side that's selling you the property can make you buy that at the end. It's basically an unconditional contract, but you don't own it yet. So you're controlling that property and whatever's agreed to in that option period. Like we've had one where it was a DA approved site. We went and changed the approval, and I put into the option agreement that once we get the tree clearing permit, we want to clear the trees. So we'd cleared the trees so that the property was once again worth more before we settled. So you can do a lot of things during that option. And one of the other cool things is you can actually on-sell it without, especially in Queensland, without accruing stamp duty, because you never actually own the property. You're just passing it on, and they can pay you an option fee. So as long as you've got a nominee clause in your option documents, it's an incredible way to control properties without actually owning it.
And again, guys, right? All you got to do, invest in yourself a little bit. Sit down with a property lawyer. 1 hour, 2 hours, $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, whatever it's going to cost. Right? Sit down with them and go there and ask stupid questions. How do options work? How do these put and calls work? Right? You can hear it from us, but when you hear it from a professional, that is different as well, right? It'll give you probably even more conviction when you hear it from someone that you trust at that level.
It's a good tool to have in the tool belt, the options, but you can't use it on every site. It's one of those things that a lot of lawyers don't even understand options. So sometimes you just have to do a long settlement, but options. So in Queensland, for example, after, don't quote me on it, it's either 3 or 6 months, you've got to start paying stamp duty interest. If you don't come up with the stamp duty, you've got to pay interest during that period. We had one recently, we didn't get the option long enough, and we had to pay 10 grand in stamp duty interest so that's a really good way to sell an option as well to the vendor, because their side will be like, well, hang on a minute, you're just trying to on-sell it and make money. You're like, no, I just want to save the stamp duty interest. So there's ways to, but yeah, you can't use it on every deal, that's for sure.
That's a good tip. Do not sit down with a solicitor about options agreements if they don't know about options agreements.
100%.
Make sure it's someone that actually understands. But ask the questions, guys. They're there for that.
Little ones too, to preempt the vendor. If you're doing the deal with the vendor directly, say, look, your lawyer's going to want to make changes to this, because they freak out when you put an option document and then all of a sudden the lawyer's like, oh, we have to make all these changes. I'd say, look, your lawyer's going to want to make all these changes up front, as long as we agree in principle, and then they don't freak out when the lawyer's like, oh, hang on a minute, we've got to do this and that. So, yeah.
All right, we've got another question. Monica, so if you have capital, how and where can I access trusted development experts to execute on my behalf and pay sweat equity and learn? I can answer this one. Being in networks, right? Like we started a podcast 2 years ago thinking, hey, some smart people are starting podcasts around the world, so let's try this out. And we fitted out a studio and we had no excuse but to show up. And here we are, more than 2 years later, and we're showing up every week, and we're creating a community, and we're creating a network, and we're getting attention, and we're getting relevance and credibility. And here we are now with inbound traffic of people going, hey, I want to invest with you guys. And this is happening all the time now. So it's really surrounding yourself and being in the rooms. Carson, right? He posted on a Facebook group, right? And that's how he found his first JV partner that then did a bunch of JVs with Shannon and Carson, if I'm not wrong. And he found them by just saying, hey, I am looking for a JV partner. I've got a site. And she did multiple deals with him, with them. So there's not really a golden answer, right? It's framing yourself and telling people what you want. Are you the idea? Are you the capital? Or are you the execution? Because in our community, we know who are the executors that have no money. We know the people that are looking for lots of land that are going to bring them back and go, hey guys, can we do a JV? And now we know more and more people that are bringing money in, right? That want to invest with us within the community, friends, acquaintances. And again, to me, it's just brick by brick, every day, doing something, reaching out, talking to a town planner, talking to an architect, talking to an engineer, and letting him know, hey, if you know anybody, right, I've got money to invest. And then things will start happening.
Yeah, no, 100%. And make sure you protect your money. Make sure you're not just giving it to people that are, throwing out stupid returns. And as the investor, you can't take someone else's feasibility as gospel. You have to do the work yourself as well, and verify those numbers in there. Make sure they're not taking huge project management fees. Some of the bigger groups will be like, yes, you get to share in some of the profits, but they're like, got a huge buyer's agent fee, a huge management fee, and then there's like some crumbs left over to split at the end. So it's really looking at the deal, taking responsibility as if you'd found it yourself. And then, because I've seen them go really, I'm a big advocate for joint ventures, but I've also seen people lose millions and millions of dollars of other people's money that had no respect for the capital that they were taking. So really take your time to court that person, and if you're the person on the other side of the fence, no project's worth, the pain of, not getting into the right partnership. So take your time before you kind of jump into projects with people.
Cool.
So,
I just got sent something pretty interesting. I didn't even know you could do this, but thank you so much, Adam Stokes. He just sent a message. Good day, boys. No question, just a bit of support for your work. Next round is on me. And he just donated $50. And I don't know how you can do that, if that's on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, but that's the first donation we've ever gotten. We've never asked for a donation, but Adam, I love it.
Thanks,
Adam Stokes, thank you
Keep the
so
lights
much,
on
man.
for a little
That's incredible. Appreciate that. Wow, cool. How good. Funny enough, our videographer that we have in the house can't help himself. He used to be a very famous DJ in Australia. True story. Can I mention who you used to be? Yeah, so Sketch, who we have in the studio, him and his brother used to be a DJ tag team called Bombs Away. And let me tell you, there was a few parties that I went to back in the day that I was pumping Bombs Away. And I can't believe when we first met, and I'm like, you're actually that guy. And then I looked up all these old school photos of him and made fun of him. All right, let's get going with some more questions. So guys, thumbs up again. Give us some action in the chat. Do you guys want us to continue with a few more questions? Because we're kind of a little bit not on schedule, but do you guys want some more questions? How many people do we got on at the moment? Okay. So do we roll with a few more questions, guys? Because are you guys good to answer some more questions?
Let's get a couple more.
I'm kind of feeling good. Do
Wait,
people want more questions? Thumbs up. Let us know in the comments. Right now, I want everyone in the comments to say more questions. How many people are telling us more questions? Do we give them more questions?
how many like just hurry
Right,
up?
but don't
do the
forget, you
boat
got to stay
prize.
till the end, right? Because we got one more hat, and we got the boat prize, 50 grand boat prize, in my opinion.
in my opinion.
In my opinion. All right.
Oh, I love it.
We're worth $50 to Adam Stokes, though. I appreciate you. You're amazing. Like that honestly is amazing. Like, I didn't even know you could do that, man.
No.
Now that we know we could do that, this is dangerous now.
Oh, my boys are on TikTok game and they're getting the cash.
This is dangerous. All right, let's get going to another question. Joshua, interested to see how you guys structure these deals in terms of whether you set them up in a company, trust, personal name, etc. Understand you can't give accounting advice, but what's worked in the past. So this is definitely not financial advice. So this isn't about how you should structure things, but I will give a recent deal that I've done and how I structured it with financial advice that I got from my accountant and lawyer. And I'd love to know how you guys structured a recent deal. So you guys go first, I'll go second, and most likely it's probably going to be the same structure.
My eyes glaze over when we start talking about accounting, so I'll handle that one on to Shan. He loves it.
99% of our deals are just a company trust structure. It's as simple as that. Because we sell down most of our projects, we're selling down the properties, the funds travel back down through the trusts, back through the family trusts and so what. So yeah, most of our company trust structures, but it all depends on what you're trying to do, Josh. Like if you're trying to hold a property at the back end of it in your personal name, if you're trying to keep something, keep a unit, keep a house, you need to see an accountant and a lawyer about it. But yeah, company trust structure is where we are at most of the time.
We've got other ones. We've done some discretionary trusts because we didn't know how things were going to be cut in the back end. But once again, there's different ways to do it. And if you're going to be retaining stuff, if you're doing small little deals, But once again, it's out of my pay grade.
Yeah, it depends what your strategy is, guys. Really, if you're if you're buying and manufacturing the equity and then selling straight away, or you actually want to retain what your tax, for tax purposes, are you doing a JV? Are you funding it yourself? So yeah, but again, accounting,
Yeah.
right? So if you're the winner, right, on the boat, we're going to have our accountants there who we use that structure all of our deals. These are the people that you could be connecting with.
Panama trip.
Right?
Yeah, that's one way of doing it.
Yeah, we're actually seeing all the comments coming through now live on the TV screen
cool.
here, which is cool. But again, these are the people that you could be connecting with. So make sure you guys stay till the end to get the draw in the draw the boat ticket. And if you're live and you're not registered, is anyone live right now in the chat that hasn't registered? Please give me a thumbs up. Please give me a thumbs up.
Everyone's registered.
Because I'm going to tell you to give me a thumbs down, because we've been telling you over and over to register. So if you haven't registered, YouTube, top pinned comment, click on that link, register, so you can maybe win the next hat or the 2 boat tickets. All right, let's answer another question. Rico, right, Joe? Rico, I think. Are there any significant concerns or risks with developing land with creeks, etc., and cultural overlays? Are there any hidden considerations or lessons, etc., to factor in? Cheers.
Ooh, yes.
Is this Carson? Oh, I think this is Carson.
Yeah,
Ooh,
this
yes.
is a bit sensitive, this one. We go after ecological challenging sites because we want better margins that most developers don't want to touch. But like we're doing stuff at the moment where it's not just going through council, it's going through state and fishery. So council might say, yes, that's fine, and then the fish people say, no, we want all these special little ponds and we want all these little creeks, and we're planting 72,000 little shrubs and trees and stuff on one at the moment. So, so there's a lot of considerations. Once again, a good team, just because I don't know those things. Your town planner will know a good ecologist, hopefully. And the ecologist will be able to hold your hand through that process, and you might need to get a little fish specialist once in a blue moon on a project that may need it. So for a lot of people, they might look at it and go, too hard basket, and maybe it is, but if it can be navigated and your team says, yes, we can, do some design here, then we've got ones at the moment, I don't know, Shannon, we've got 7 and 8 fish ponds all the way through the site. Yeah. So, yes, buyer beware, but once again, you find yourself a really good team and you're halfway there.
You can't ignore, you probably run through how you found that, because you're the one who actually found the fisheries problem.
Well,
Not problem, but the risk of that going through the project, and it was only due to you bringing multiple people that we came across it again.
It's quite scary. I'm a bit overkill. I'm the kind of guy who gets 10 quotes and talks to 5 different bushfire consultants, and I think I spoke to every ecologist in the area, and I think 5 out of the 6 didn't mention anything about fisheries. They're like, oh, you got koalas, you got some offsets you might need to pay when you clear trees. And then one of the more bigger firms, which we didn't actually go for, but we got the information, was like, have you even looked, like, we've got some fisheries issues here. I think you're going to have to refer this to them. And I was like, no one else had said anything about that. And then I took it back to an ecologist that I was going to work with. It's like, oh, yes, we need to do that. So, once again, you need to be that guy or girl that kind of doesn't just take one person just because you've got one great town planner or one good ecologist, go get a second and third opinion. Especially if the whole project's going to hinge on that one thing working, you better go talk to as many people as you can.
We get lots of things peer reviewed, get a second opinion on lots of things, and when you hear something like that, you can't put the blinkers on. You got to be a dog on a scent, and you got to chase that down and find out what the problem's going to be in the end, because it could be a deal killer.
You're not going to be doing those deals with probably fisheries, and we're doing stuff with the federal government because koalas are endangered now, so there's 99% of stuff with koala habitat you can't do. So you've got to you've got to know that stuff, and you've got to know where to go. So
ask dumb questions, ask lots of them.
Yeah, we're good at that.
Guys, we're getting a fair few comments in, and I didn't prepare for this, to be honest with you. A lot of people are going, how do we invest, right? Who do I contact about being an investor in deals? So, I mean, we don't have a link set up or anything, but if you guys want to send an email to hello, HELLO, at unemployable.com.au. So if you're an investor and, again, idea, capital, execution, you're the capital person, and you're looking for the person with the idea, with a block of land, with, you know, development potential, land subdivision, small scale development, built form, whatever it is, just put in there who you are, what you're looking to invest in. Is it land subdivisions? Is it built form? So that way we get an understanding what area you're looking to invest in. The more information you can give us. Again, we haven't organized anything for this, but there's a fair few people that are actually in the comments telling us this. So just send your details to hello@unemployable.com.au, and we will get back to you guys and document it. So really appreciate that, guys. We're going to answer two more questions, guys. And what was the Bitcoin one that you were saying? I can't see it.
It's up here. I'll ask you.
Yeah.
It's from Mercury, Mistia.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, why buy a property when Bitcoin is going up 40% a year?
Good question. And for those of you guys that know anything about what we talk about Bitcoin, we talk about real estate, property, different types of wealth creation. I've got Bitcoin. Do you guys have Bitcoin?
A little bit.
You got a little bit of Bitcoin, right? And I keep buying Bitcoin, and I still keep buying property. I guess the short answer is Bitcoin, in my opinion, is a lot more volatile, right, than real estate, the real estate that I'm specifically investing in. Now, I am on and checking Bitcoin price every day, multiple times a day, right? It's up, it's down. There's a level of anxiety that I get that I kind of like in a very weird way. But I don't have enough of my wealth in it that if it went down by, 10, 20, 30, 40%, that I'd be sitting there having a stroke, right? That's kind of like, oh shit, this isn't great. But at the same time, I know I've got other wealth, right? With property, you can't see it go up and down every day, right? You can only see the history. You can only look back 3 months, 6 months and say, it's went up a bit, it's went down a bit. What I like about property is you can manufacture equity. As much as there's work involved, right? So there's a tangible thing that you can see, that you can feel, that you've built, you can touch, and you can show people, right, what you've done. There's a level of that becomes involved as well. It's not just all about money for me. You need to enjoy what you're doing at the same time. But let me tell you, what Bitcoin has done over the last 10 years, I think it's one of the top assets that you could have invested in and outperformed many, right? But throughout those 10 years, there's been lots of ups and lots of downs. A majority of people would have sold. The uneducated with less conviction would have sold in the down times. We're in a bull market at the moment, and that's amazing for all of us that is invested in Bitcoin. I am very, very bullish in Bitcoin. But again, I like Adam, I haven't spent thousands of hours educating myself on Bitcoin. I do have conviction because of the people around me that have so much conviction. But what you need to what you need to go deep on is what is your risk tolerance, right? And how much of capital do you want to be allocated in different asset classes? I hope that helped.
Well, can I jump on that as well? So a lot of people, when they're comparing the two, they're like, well, property goes up at 7 to 10% or whatever it might be, 7% per annum, and look, Bitcoin's up 40%. But they're forgetting the leverage, especially when you're doing creative terms. So to give you some examples, like Shannon and I put in $170,000 into a project, and we made $2.7 million off that $170,000 using creative terms, using the uplift in the property. We've got another one at the moment where we're putting months. In 12 months. Another one we're going to be in it for 12 months again, and the uplift is phenomenal. Like returns, you're just not we're talking in the thousands on the actual capital that we return. So it's Yeah, in some of the projects, we literally physically haven't put a cent of our own money in. We did a little 8-lot subdivision with a joint venture party. We made 700 grand. We just found it, executed the project. They put in all the capital. That's an infinite return, right? So it's getting those creative terms. Like we've got one at the moment that we're looking to on-sell. We paid 2 for it. We just received an offer for 13, and we've probably spent 150 on the site. So yes, Bitcoin, if you're just going to buy and hold and be a lazy investor, and you're not going to learn property development and the skill of that, then yeah, 100% Bitcoin's going to beat property every day of the week. Minus some volatility if you don't sell out. If you hold it for, what do they say, 4 or 5 years, you're going to be in front. So, but that's where property development, leverage, safe leverage, in brackets, with some bit of education and doing it the right way, is just off the charts. So that's where it wins in my eyes.
Yeah, we're manufacturing the growth. It's a working investment rather than Bitcoin's a passive investment. You don't have any control of the outcome.
Yeah, you're right, 100%.
You're either a working investor like us, and you're in the project and manufacturing the growth, and this is why we're heavily in property and not heavily in Bitcoin, or you're a passive investor and you sit your money in Bitcoin. You just leave it there and let it go. You can't do anything with the outcome. So.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the questions at the moment. What we're going to be doing now is we're going to give away the 5th hat, and then right after that, we're going to do the draw for the 2 boat tickets for November 29th. I'll explain a little bit more on that, but let's give away another hat. Sketch. If Carson wins, he's doing all the coaching calls moving forward forever. Damien. All right, another one. So Damien, mobile number ends in 731. Awesome work. All right, guys. Now, the boat tickets. November 29th from the Gold Coast, Main Beach, Marina Mirage. We've rented a very big boat. We're going to have a DJ, fully catered, drinks flowing. You get to meet our beautiful wives who are going to be joining us. You're going to be meeting our personal consultants. These are the guys that we use every day. These are architects. These are our town planners, our engineers, ecologists that are going to be coming on the boat. You're going to be meeting, some of the unemployable community, some of the coaching clients. There'll be well over 100 people on this boat for 4 hours on the Broadwater, on the Gold Coast. It's going to be a very, very cool experience. We've done it already a couple times, and honestly, it's a highlight of the year. We're doing it November 29th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., and honestly, I can't wait. It's one of those events where you could just let your hair down a little bit. It's unstructured, very casual, and these are the times where you can meet that next business partner, that next JV partner, that partner that's looking to put in money, or that partner that has a block of land that needs the funds. So that's on November 29th, guys. We're giving away 2 tickets, so one plus a partner. So not 2 separate tickets. It's going to be 1 ticket, but you can bring your partner if you have one. So it's a +1. And in my opinion, like I said before, I think it's worth at least $125,000. So, drum roll, sketch, Ricka, do what you need to do, get people excited. Let's go. Andrew and your +1 mobile number ending in 681 will be joining us. And if you can't, please, the tickets, don't sell them. You could probably get big money, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, but hopefully we can see you there. If you're from Interstate, have a think about it, because don't let that flight or that one night's accommodation not get you there. You're going to be rubbing shoulders with some amazing, amazing people. And not just us, guys. I know we're amazing, all right? Thank you. But we have even more amazing people on the boat, right? Our consultants, clients, They're just such well-rounded people, very, just real, raw, relatable. That's what we're about at Unemployable and what we do at Unemployable Property. Just want to say a massive thank you for jumping on tonight, guys. No trolls, great questions, civil chat, love it, right? Like, it's one of those things, we're putting ourselves out there. We've never done this before. It's my first live webinar, Shannon and Carson. I still can't believe that I forgot to put my headphones at the beginning. I do these podcasts all the time. That's how excited I was, right? But for those that are serious about your future, right? Like, we've got Daniel and his brother Tony that flew in from Melbourne. They're here live in the studio. We're going to be doing some work together. We're going out for lunch tomorrow. That's what these guys are doing. They're flying in, they're coming in, they're hanging out. I want you guys to stay for a few minutes because I want to show you guys inside what Unemployable Property Coaching is all about. Our property coaching program, right? Daily answers. We offer structure. We're getting, people deal ready, right? People that used to be in Carson's and Shannon's shoes. This is what we do, right? We want people to think outside of the box a little bit. Start thinking about generational wealth. Start thinking about your kids and your kids' future and your future and the time that you want to be spending. It's not just about money, right? We used to think that it used to be all about money and things, right? But what people really want, they want community. They want network. They want time. They want people to know their names. They want freedom, right? Nothing matters more than being in the room, right? Or being on the boat. Now, what we want to show you guys is a quick 90-second video that shows you what it's like inside the Unemployable Property Coaching Program. We don't run ads, okay? We're not out there smashing Instagram ads and Facebook ads and trying to, force this down people's throats. This isn't for everybody, right? This is for committed people that want to actually do something different in their lives, and you will be able to meet these people on that boat day as well. So, sketch, let's roll the video. This is a highlight reel of what we do. Bloopers removed. Water meter there.
It should go.
Which is potentially $1 million.
You could sit there and scroll on your phone. You could listen to the podcasts. You could read the books all you want. But the real needle-moving thing to do is take action. This is real life deals. They're in the trenches just like everybody else. And that is the beauty of Unemployable Property. It's not just teaching. We're in the trenches doing it just like everybody else and learning every day.
Thank you.
Stay unemployable.
Awesome. Tell me that doesn't look cool. Honestly, Sketch, you and the boys do an amazing job. That's what it looks like in behind the scenes at Unemployable Property Coaching, guys, right? Serious players doing some serious things. We have some clients doing amazing, like great deals right now. Like there's some really, really action takers in this group. Like if you've been sitting there thinking, should I do this? Right? That's your sign, because nothing changes when you just continue to watch webinars and podcasts and read books. The years go by, okay? And anyone who joins the coaching program this week, right, you'll not only get full access, but you'll also get invited to the boat cruise on November 29th. Again, hanging out with developers, our team, planners, engineers, architects. We've got so many amazing people that will be on that boat, people that are doing real deals, creating real partnerships. And also this week, anyone who joins, we've never done this before, I think it's pretty cool. You'll get a huge bonus, right? What you guys will get is a half a day on site shadowing Shannon and Carson, right? Walking the sites, running the feasibilities, talking to agents, seeing how they think, seeing how they execute, hanging out with them, asking any questions that that you want, right? Real organic, real developers, real deals. And it's just something that we thought is very, very important, right? Like this, as soon as I met Shannon and Carson, they came on as coaching clients in business. I'm like, there's something about these guys. And with myself, if you talked to them 12 months ago, they said you'd be lying. And we tested it at the beginning. And we didn't know how it was going to go. And they're like, we want to make sure that we add real value. We want to make sure we add value. That's our number one thing. Our reputation is everything. Our reputation is everything, right? We're out here every week. And it wasn't until we did our first event, right, which was a great success, where we went on the bus tour, like you've seen on that video, and we were in room at the QT Hotel. And when the weekend was finished, right, and the amount of thanks that I got, Shannon, Carson, that's when the switch clicked with these guys. And that's Shannon. I was always hesitant and around a little bit because he's such a busy guy doing a lot of things, and he was just like, I see it now, right? He's like, let's go. I want to help change people's lives, and this is where we're at, guys. So if tonight was valuable and you want to take the next step, right, there's links in the YouTube comment in the chat box, or go to www.unemployableproperty.com.au ask anything and book in a call, right? No. Just property.com.au. Just property.com, okay. So unemployableproperty.com.au, no /. Just go to www.unemployableproperty.com.au and just book in a call, right? Calendars are open for the next couple days. Also, the link is tagged in the comments on YouTube right now. So this offer is only available for 48 hours. When I say this offer, the offer for the 1 day, the half day, sorry, with Shannon and Carson, that's only available for the next 48 hours. Anyone that joins over the next, say, week or two, will keep that boat cruise open, and that will be included with that as well. So again, guys, thanks again. You guys are absolute legends. I love seeing these live comments coming in and the amount of action and the thumbs up and the different things happening. But again, this isn't for everyone, guys. We just want to deal with serious people that will take action, right? This isn't just something that, you just do a little bit on the side, an hour a week. And, this is people, we want committed people that want change in their lives, that want to be held accountable, that want to be mentored with people that are in the trenches doing it themselves. It's not people that have sold all this property and they're sitting on their high horse going, let me teach you what we're doing. It's people that are doing it in real time, right? That are learning lessons, that are making mistakes that everyone else can learn from. So just want to say thank you again. I hope you guys got a lot of value tonight. We'll see you either in the program, hopefully. We'll see you on the boat. If you aren't subscribed to Unemployable Media YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, the podcast channel. Go to Unemployable Property Facebook. We have a free Facebook group. If you're not in there, make sure you get in there, please. Also follow us on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Like I said, Facebook. And hopefully we will see you on the program as a student or on the boat. And I just want to say a big, big thank you to the whole team that has helped put this on. Like I said, it's our first live webinar. It's went amazing. You guys all stayed on with us. Shannon, Carson, I just want to say you guys are absolute legends. You guys are changing people's lives. You've changed your lives. You're changing my life. You have so much impact on what I'm doing and the decisions I'm making every day. And I'm blessed to call you guys friends, and even more blessed to call you guys business partners.
Thanks, mate. I'm glad you were hosting that, because I would have been a disaster if I had to fumble my way through all of that. So that's awesome. So
Definitely wouldn't have
you're a
been as
legend.
lively.
Thanks, mate.
Mate,
We wouldn't even be sitting here without you.
Yeah, I come up with these crazy ideas, and
I was always dodging socials.
yeah, now these guys are doing live webinars and building profiles and standing on stages, and it's amazing the amount of influence that you can have on people, but it's because you guys are the real deal. So really appreciate you guys. If you liked it, give me some thumbs up in the comments. Give us some thumbs up. Give us some fire. We're watching it right now. What do we got? Come on. Awesome, guys. Thank you very much. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.